Now let's take a closer look at that most important design tool that comes with Xcode, called Interface Builder. Steve Jobs said it best: design is not just what it looks like and feels like, design is how it works. And Steve is serious about this. That's why he gave us the Interface Builder. Seriously, it would have been totally unlike Apple to not provide a robust tool for building user interfaces. Xcode's Interface Builder is a great editor for graphically laying out your user interface. You use it to design your app's interface and then save what you've done as a resource file, which is then loaded into your app at runtime. This resource file is then used automatically to create the single window as well as all of your views and controls. To see the Interface Builder, select any XIB file, such as flipsideview.xib, which I've selected here. The Interface Builder appears right here in the editor area. Not surprisingly, the graphic image in the center shows the flipside view, which looks exactly as it did in the simulator. Interface Builder supports two resource file types: an older format that uses the .nib extension and a newer format that utilizes the .xib extension. The iPhone project templates all use XIB files, and although the file extension is .xib, everyone still calls them nib files. The term nib and the corresponding file extension XIB are acronyms for Next Interface Builder, and that's a clue that the Interface Builder was originally developed at Next Computer, Steve Jobs' former company, whose OpenStep operating system was used as the basis for creating Mac OS X. You see a canvas with the flipside view window as a graphic image. Actually, it's an Interface Builder object. This is the area, the canvas, in which you drag user interface elements such as buttons and text fields, and they come from the library pane down here in the lower right corner of the utility area. The library pane lets you browse the stock Cocoa Touch objects that Interface Builder uses. For example, we would look for a control, and we can scroll down and find the various controls, slider, switch, etc. Or if we're looking to show data, select the data views objects, and here they are: add banner view, picker view, date picker, scroll view, map view, web view, etc. And we'll get into all of these in a little while. But let's pick an object right now that we can drag over and show you how it works. In the Windows and Bars section, we can find the bar button item, which represents an item on the toolbar or any UI navigation item. We can drag this right over to the canvas. And if we were going to put another button in the title bar, we would drag it over to here. And as you see, the Interface Builder already has mapped out the place where it should go. You can just drop it right in there. Let's undo that for now. And so that's the library pane. And over here on the left is the Interface Builder dock. The three icons right here, the yellow cube, the red cube, and the square, act as a table of contents for the nib file. With the exception of the first two icons, File Owner and First Responder, every icon alongside the window, in this case there's only one, View, represents a single instance of an Objective-C class that will be created automatically for you when this nib file is loaded. So here's the thing to remember. Interface Builder doesn't generate any code that you have to modify or even look at. Instead, it creates the ingredients for instant Objective-C objects, and the nib file loading code combines and turns into real objects at runtime. So let's take a closer look at the three icons here. The file's owner is the controller object that's responsible for the contents of the nib file. In this case, the file's owner object is actually the flipside view controller class that was created by Xcode for this template. The way we know that is by clicking File Owner and then clicking the Identity Inspector. And as you can see, flipside view controller is the class. This is the owner of this nib file. The first responder object is the first entry in an app's dynamically constructed responder chain. Remember, when there's something to process, the event handling code of UI application processes touch events by dispatching them to the appropriate responder object. And that's the object that is signed up to take responsibility for doing something when an event happens, such as when the user touches the screen. Responder objects can include instances of UI application, UI window, UI view, etc. And they all inherit from UI responder. A responder object decides how to handle the event. Well, the first responder object is the first entry in an app's responder chain, which is constantly updated while the app is running, usually to point to the object that the user is currently interacting with. If, for example, the user taps a text field to enter some data, the first responder would then become the text field object. Although you might use the first responder mechanism quite a bit in your apps, you have to do nothing to manage it. It's automatically set and maintained by the UIKit framework. The third icon in this dock is the view object. The view represents an instance of the UI view class. As you can see, we'll select it, and in the identity pane, UI view. A UI view object is an area, in this case the Flipside view window, which is now selected with a blue border around it. And this is why the Xcode templates are so useful. They take care of the display and memory management so that you can focus on what your app can do. The template you select for your Xcode project provides the skeleton of the user interface. This utility application template that we chose for My World offers a main view, a Flipside view, an information button on the main view to display the Flipside view, and a Done button on the Flipside view to get back to the main view. Here we see the Done button. The template includes a flip graphical effect as a transition between the main view and the Flipside view. So here is the main view of the utility application template, and you can see the I button in the lower right corner. In the Flipside view, you see the Done button returns you to the main view. It's a very simple, straightforward way to implement a utility app. As is usually the case in utility apps such as the Weather app or the Stocks app, the Flipside view provides a place for the user to change its preferences. The Done button is also familiar and used extensively to return to the previous screen, as well as the I information button, which is a familiar symbol in iPhone utility-style apps. And it always leads to the screen that supplies more information or allows you to change your preferences on a Flipside view. So if we were to run this right now in the simulator, we would be sure to select Simulator in the Scheme menu and then click the Run button. As you can see, it builds very quickly and begins to run in the iOS simulator. And here it is, a simple main view with an I button that does a nice flip transition to the Flipside view. You click the Done button, it goes back to the main view.